Hello, friends. We are back and we're reading from our book again, Fables. You know what a fable is by now. It's a short story that gives us a moral or a lesson at the end. So we're zooming in and focusing in on main idea and details. Now we're going to do a little bit of cause and effect review as well as seeing if you can make the prediction of what that moral is after we read it. That's a lot, but I know we're smart and we can do this. So let's jump in. The title of our book or our story is called The Poor Old Dog. Let's look at the picture here. All right, so zooming in on that picture, what do you think might happen in this story? We see a dog out on a street. It looks like he has some clothes on. Okay, and let's see what might happen. Now, when thinking about the main idea, we know we can look at that title. The title's called The Poor Old Dog. So I now can make a very good prediction that this is probably going to be about a poor old dog. So remember, if you can't always know or figure out what the main idea is, go back to the title. And if you're not reading from a chapter book, you would then go back to the title of the book you're reading. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. There was an old dog who was very poor. The only coat he had to wear was mostly holes held together by ragged threads. He could feel the pebbles on the pavement through the thin soles of his tattered shoes. Tattered just means torn. He slept in the park because he had no home. The dog spent most of his time searching in garbage cans. He found bits of strings and buttons. These he sold for pennies to passerbys. The dog always walked with his nose close to the curb, looking for things to sell. That is how he came to find the gold ring that was lying in the gutter. I think we missed that detail in the picture. Let's go back and look. Oh, so if you caught that in the beginning, that gold ring right here in the gutter, my goodness, you're great at finding details. Let's go back to the story. My luck has changed, cried the dog, for I am sure that this is a magic ring. The dog rubbed the ring and said, I wish for a new coat. I wish for new shoes. I wish for a house to live in. I wish these wishes would come true right now. So let's put a pause on it. Can you make any predictions? Do you think that ring is really magic and that his wishes come true? Let's see what happens now. But nothing happened. The dog felt the wind through the holes in his coat. He felt the pebbles under his thin shoes. That night he slept on his usual bench in the park. Several days later, the dog saw a note on a lamppost. The note said, Lost, gold ring, large reward. Mr. Terrier, 10 Wealthy Lane. The dog hurried to Wealthy Lane. Mr. Terrier was overjoyed to have his ring returned. He thanked the dog profusely. Profusely just means a whole lot. And gave him a bulging purse that was full of coins. The dog bought a warm fur coat. He bought a pair of good shoes with thick soles. There was a large amount of money left over. The dog used the rest of it as a down payment on a cozy little house. He moved right in and never had to sleep in the park again. Okay, so if you made the prediction that he did in fact get some treasures that he wished for, maybe not in the way that the dog wanted to, but if you made that prediction, you were correct. Now let's focus in on what you think the moral or the lesson of the story is. See if you can make a guess at home. Remember, we're making predictions. Okay, so if you guess something along the lines of wishes on their way to coming true will not be rushed. Okay, so if you guessed something or made that prediction, that's the moral of the story. You were correct. So when thinking of that moral, he didn't get his wishes right away, did he? In the book, it says here, nothing happened, but several days later, So his wishes did come true, but it took some time. Okay, now let's think about the main idea and details. We know that the main idea is that there was a poor old dog, right? Can you think of any details that go along with the main idea? All right, so let's think about what the story tells us, and we can use our pictures to help. I know that some of the details is that something was wrong with his coat. Can you remember what that was? There were holes in his coat that made it tattered. And what do you think was wrong with his shoes? They were too what? They were too thin. So some of the details of the story is that it was too thin. And then he found something. He found a ring. And then he got a reward. All of those are details that go along with the main idea. Now let's focus a little bit on cause and effect. All right, the effect is that he was able to turn in a ring for money, like a reward. What was the cause of that? What did he have to do first? All right, if you said find a ring, that was the cause. He had to find the ring first in order to turn in the reward. All right, that is it for today's Read Aloud. I hope you enjoyed this story. Signing off.